Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week I was home alone with my two little kiddos, so before my husband went out of town, I decided to prep a few items just to make breakfast, lunch, and snack run a little bit more smoothly. I made a batch of whole wheat buttermilk pancakes for breakfast, homemade granola bars for quick snacks, some sweet potato toast, and my favorite buffalo chickpea salad. All of this prep took me about an hour, so if you're busy or have kids or are single parenting, then I hope you get some inspiration from these recipes. As always, the recipes will be linked down below. You can grab a cup of coffee and a snack and let's get started. I feel like in all my meal prep videos I feature sweet potatoes, and we actually don't eat them that often. I just happen to film whenever we're eating sweet potatoes, but this week I wanted to prepare them a little differently just to make things more exciting. So I decided to slice my sweet potatoes into toast shape, and then I'm just going to put these on a baking sheet and roast them in the oven. It takes about 20-25 minutes for them to cook through. You don't want them to be super mushy because you're going to use them as bread throughout the week, but I just put these on a baking sheet, popped them in the oven, and continued on with the other recipes. Usually when I'm meal prepping breakfast, I like to do quicker recipes like sheet pan pancakes or baked oatmeal, but this day I really was just feeling classic pancakes, so I'm making some vegan buttermilk pancakes. I just whipped up some homemade vegan buttermilk, which I showed how to make in my last video, and I also just strained some chickpeas to use the liquid for eggs. Then in a mixing bowl, I'm whisking together all of the dry ingredients, including whole wheat flour, coconut sugar, baking powder, soda, and some salt. And I'm just going to whisk this until smooth before adding in my homemade buttermilk and the aquafaba as an egg replacement. And then I almost forgot, you need to add a touch of oil. Just whatever neutral oil you have on hand works great. And then I just slowly cooked up the batter using about 1/4 cup increments. Waited till there were bubbles around the edges before flipping these over, and these whole wheat vegan buttermilk pancakes are so fluffy, full of whole grains, not very sweet, so you can top them with whatever you want. They won't give your kids a crazy sugar spike, and they just leave you feeling great. So while I was flipping pancakes, I decided to make some granola bars. These are kind of like a no-bake cookie, but they're less sweet and pressed into a granola bar shape. So in a saucepan, I am mixing together some coconut oil, non-dairy milk, a liquid sweetener, and some almond butter. You could also use peanut butter. And I let that come to a boil and then turn off the heat and add in a bunch of rolled oats. You could also add in some mix-ins like raisins or chocolate chips, but I just kept these pretty simple. And once everything is combined, you're just going to pour it into a lined baking sheet. And then you're going to use a spatula to press the batter down until it's nice and compact, because you're going to be cutting these into bars. As you can see, my daughter and my niece were running through the kitchen, so it is not a quiet household when I'm meal prepping, but you're going to set these granola bars into the fridge to set before cutting them into whatever shape you want. I normally use an 8x8 baking dish, but I had a 9x9, so these are a little bit thinner, but they still turned out great and were so nice to have on hand whenever I needed to grab a snack for myself or for my kids. Last but not least, I wanted to prep a protein source for myself for lunch, and I prepped my favorite buffalo chickpea salad, which is just chickpeas, buffalo sauce, tahini to make it nice and creamy, and you're going to mash all of that together. Make sure you leave some whole chickpeas or big pieces of chickpeas so it's not a mush. And then you're just going to stir in some chopped onion and garlic, and usually I add celery, but I didn't have any this day, so I just left it out. And you have this delicious buffalo chickpea salad or dip or whatever you want to use it for. And I just popped this into a container and was all done with my meal prep. So I let everything cool before storing the sweet potatoes and the pancakes into some containers that I could just grab throughout the week. I had never made sweet potato toast before, but I loved having it on hand for lunches as a gluten-free option instead of bread. It was just really fun. And by this point, all of your meal prep should be done. You've got your pancakes, sweet potato toast, homemade granola bars, and your buffalo chickpea salad. This is a very orange-brown spread, but it still gave me a lot of healthy options throughout the week when I was busy or wearing my son and needed lunch really quick. So now I'll just show you how I used all these items. So for lunch, a lot of the times I would top my sweet potato toast with the buffalo chickpea salad, add on some tahini, and if I had any garnishes or time to garnish, I would add that. And then whatever veggies I had on the side. And this was just a fun, healthy way to get in some fuel in the middle of the day. You could also do a sweet and savory option or use this for breakfast toast. So sometimes I would top it with peanut butter, banana. You could get super creative, just view it as bread. And in full transparency, I often ate my meals over my son's head throughout the week. Another way I really enjoyed this chickpea salad was in lettuce boats. These are giant pieces of romaine, so it looks kind of weird, but I would just fill the leaves with the chickpea salad, add some tahini and pepper, and just eat that like a taco. We also went on a picnic one day, so I made a pita wrap with the chickpea salad, and that was really easy to put together. And then for my daughter, a lot of the times I would use the granola bars as part of her lunch, just as a fun finger food, and she really enjoyed these and asked for them most days of the week. For breakfast, I would just reheat the pancakes and top them with peanut butter just to add a little bit of protein source, whatever fruit I had on hand, berries, bananas, and then we love chocolate on everything, so I added some chocolate granola, and this was just a quick and easy breakfast for either me or my daughter. So hopefully this quick 1-hour meal prep gave you some inspiration on ways to eat healthy for breakfast, lunch, and snack. As always, the recipes can be found down in the description box. Definitely give this video a like if you enjoyed it, because that helps me know what videos to make in the future. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss the next video, and I will see you all very soon. Bye!